Thank you for joining us for this very important discussion. In Her Company is a growing platform for women discussing how we create, build, and live. What began as a weekly radio show in 2009 with over 16,000 listens, featuring diverse women in business, is now a company with an expanded mission to help women answer the question, what's next, execute a plan to get it, and birth their huge, impossible visions. This mini-series is an expression of our commitment to women to help them to live more powerfully for themselves and the greater good of the world around them. In Wielding Your Voice, we will explore what it means to do so, wielding the power of our voice at the roots of issues rather than each other. And we'll do this by touching on 4 key areas: passion, purpose, pain, and responsibility. My name is Chris Vaughn. I am In Her Company's creator and founder. I am also a published author of fiction featuring strong female characters and a consultant to multi-passionate women. Joining me to discuss passion is Michaela Zannou, a New York City-based actor, writer, and filmmaker, originally from Greece. She completed her studies in Athens, where she earned a Master of Fine Arts in acting. Michaela moved to New York to pursue her passion for on-camera acting and filmmaking. Since then, she has appeared on several TV series, commercials, short films, and web series. Most recently, Michaela wrote, produced, and starred in the pilot episode Couples Therapy, a provocative dramedy about a couples therapist who treats neurotic couples while simultaneously trying to salvage her own marriage. Wow. Her horror screenplay, The Retreat, was also a finalist in the LA-based Shriekfest Film Festival. An advocate for female empowerment and women supporting women, Zannou is a member of New York's prestigious Women in Film and Television. Michaela, thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me. It's so good to be here.
So why are you taking part in this discussion?
Well, I mean, I feel that any person that chose a life in the arts definitely has a lot of passion and a lot of, dedication and is driven by passion. Otherwise, you would not stay in this industry that's so unpredictable and cutthroat. And you need a lot of passion and a lot of determination and patience to stay in this industry. So yeah, passion is definitely one of, my strongest, I would say, characteristics as a person.
It's what drives you.
Yes, exactly. It's what drives me, and it's what led me to, cross an ocean and move to just leave Greece and move to New York, even though I didn't really know anybody here, and just take this huge leap.
Yes, well, definitely glad you did, because now we have an opportunity to speak with you. So also, as a person in the arts, I'm sure you're around a lot of people who have, a lot of passions. They are passionate about a wide variety of things as well.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the challenges and is not only with multi-passionate people like the women that I work with, but just due to the nature of the world that we are in now, is that there are so many things that we can be passionate about at any given time.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you tell the difference between things that maybe you should just be passionate about and enjoy versus something that you should be passionate about and maybe compelled to speak on behalf of?
Yeah, well, there are a lot of, little things that people are passionate about and they enjoy, whether that's, their pet or a hobby or, their relationship with people. But I feel that when something is universal and when something is really deep and could have an impact on people, that's when it just organically comes out, like this desire organically builds up inside you, and it compels you to speak and to tell that story. It's particularly, like, as a writer, I've found that all my stories they stem from a deep place within, and some just some story inside me that I feel like needs to be reshaped, reformed, and told. And I feel that it could affect a lot of people, it could inspire a lot of people, or it could, quote unquote, educate a lot of people about the complexities of the human spirit.
Yeah, I like you said some very important like key words there. Universal, deep, organic, um, meaning that it's something that you believe that actually resonates deeply within us, not something that it's like an impulse. Like
Yeah.
we see something and get caught up in the emotion of the moment and it's shocking, and then we want to just say something about it, but something that's deep within us already that is looking for the right opportunity to come out. Would that be correct?
Yes, and we have the saying in the industry that the more specific and the more personal, the more universal. Because a lot of writers will think that, oh, well, this is just like so specific, like this is just based on my experience or person I know, but it's like so specific, but usually it's those stories that are the most universal and that resonate with people the most.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I can definitely see that. Um, so then now because we have all of these things to choose from, if you will, and they're not really a choice. We've already established that it has to be something that resonates within us. Um, Once we grasp what that is, then how do we ensure that we're speaking words that are uniquely ours, and in a way that is authentic to us rather than, say, taking somebody else's words. I call it borrowed passion just because of the prevalence of, thought leaders and experts, I'm using the term loosely, um, that we see nowadays, on and off social media. And it could be anyone with the platform, but because we see them more so than, say, we see our neighbor,
Mm-hmm.
then the tendency is, oh, okay, so this is what I'm feeling, this is what I care about. Maybe I should mimic them or say the same thing so I'll be thought of as knowledgeable as that. But that's borrowed passion because that's
Mm-hmm.
not yours.
Yeah.
So how do we get in touch with, I guess, our own words?
Well, yeah, it's definitely not an easy process and an easy thing to do to be authentic to yourself. Because, like you said, we are just overstimulated and we see all those people around us doing things that make them look cool. But what is, true to yourself? Um, for me, it's all about being in touch with yourself and taking some time away from stimulations, just with yourself to think, to touch base, to ground yourself, to figure out who you are and what you really and truly enjoy and what truly makes you happy, um, as opposed to just copying what people do. And that takes a lot of courage to do that because it's
Yeah.
not an easy thing, and sometimes it's scary. Like, I've had conversations with people and they're tell me that I'm afraid to stay alone with myself. I always have to have music on or some white noise in the background because they are afraid of staying alone with themselves. And I get that, but at the same time, it's just so useful to spend time with yourself, to have conversations or monologues with yourself. It's something that I definitely do a lot. Like, I talk to myself. I live alone also, so I will sometimes talk to myself aloud. um, but yeah, I feel that inner monologues and just fleshing out your thoughts and your feelings is so important because then you will know who you are and what makes you happy, and you will be very attuned to your body's signals, like, oh, I'm feeling this right now, why am I feeling this right now? Like, did someone make me feel bad about myself? Did someone make me anxious, nervous? Did something scare me? I just feel like it's so important to just be in touch with ourselves and the core of who we are.
Yeah, I totally agree. In fact, that's one of the that is where we start with anything, whether it's an online course or even with my private consulting clients. We start with themselves. You know, what's important to you? What are your values? Because whatever that is going to come out in your business. And people don't believe that, but they see, you know, through the process of that they development, whatever inner work that you haven't done with yourselves. It's not saying that you can't be successful, but it's saying that the wrong things will be chasing you and you'll be chasing the wrong things because you're out of touch with who you are. Um, in fact, you know, this is being recorded in the time of COVID, in the days of COVID. And, you know, it's interesting within the first month, the number of suicides skyrocketed. And it's so sad. But people for the first time were left alone with their own thoughts. They were
Yeah.
left alone with themselves, like you said. There were no distractions. There was nothing to be busy for the sake of being busy. And, you know, when I hear people say, oh, I can't wait for things to get back to normal, often the rush to get back to normal is a rush to habit. And some
Yeah.
of those were definitely not benefiting to us, who we are as people.
Yeah, this time has definitely given us a chance to reflect and to, reprioritize things. Like, just take a look at the bigger picture
Yeah.
and prioritize and figure out what really is important for
Yeah.
us. And same for our relationships. Like, I know this has happened to a lot of couples. Like, I read that in China, like, so many couples filed for divorce, like, right after the quarantine was over. And I feel like, when you're forced to, like, legitimately spend time with someone, you realize that, are we a good match, or is this working
Right.
out? Yeah.
Right. Right. And you know, part of the which was sad, you know, it goes to show because when you don't know yourself, then you
Yeah.
can't know the other party, you know,
Yeah,
and because they don't know
exactly.
themselves. So it's two
Yeah.
surface people
And
coming together. It's like this is the image of me. So
yeah, and you haven't introduced yourself to them in that sense. If you don't know yourself and you're being someone else or someone different,
yeah,
and you're not, fighting for your needs and your feelings and your passions, then, you haven't introduced yourself to them.
yeah, yeah. Just kind of interesting to think, you know, after all this time, have you met me? That's got
Yeah,
to be a crazy
exactly.
thought.
Yeah.
Crazy thought. But you touched on the bigger picture and
Mhm.
being that you're in the creative arts, of course, you know, there is a
Mhm.
bigger picture to everything that you would do. But the bigger picture also includes other people.
Yeah.
So once we gain some kind of clarity or begin to develop and shape our voice, how do we invite others who are part of this larger picture? How do we invite them to experience what we are passionate about?
Well, again, I feel like it also comes out to, like, having an authentic voice and being passionate about what you do. I feel that excitement and passion is contagious. Like, for example, for me as a filmmaker, I can't do it alone. I need people, I need a crew. I need help producing. I need someone to take a look at my script and give me feedback. I need an entire village. I mean, we all do
Yeah,
in any profession. But speaking just in my experience as a filmmaker, as a creator, I need a village, and it's not very easy to find people that will stick with you through thick and thin, because it can be a very draining process before and after. Like, if anything, after filming is when you need the support, in promoting it, post production and everything. So um I feel like, for me, I always follow my instincts. Whenever I feel that that person's a little flaky, that person, I can't communicate with them properly, I will, very kindly just walk away, because it just saves me a lot of angst and a lot of mental energy and heartbreak. Because if I were to do it later on, it would feel like it was too late, or it would just be too painful. So I make sure I walk away from any bad situation as 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 soon as my instinct like signs the alarm. And so yeah, I follow my instinct, but at the same time I'm very open to new people, and I'm very supportive of other people's work, and I'm all about collaboration and including other people, whether in my team or in my stories. Inclusivity is really important to me in my stories, and I feel like that's another way you can invite someone to your work and to your passion project, whether to be a part of it or to view it. For example, in couples therapy, what I really love about this project and this concept was that it gives me the chance to tell so many stories that haven't been told before. So many relationships, between, homosexual couples or triads, polyamory, like all the modern types of relationships, and power struggles between, married professional couples, that like whose career is more important, or, fighting over their pet, like all those stories that they are legitimate. Like I know couples that have gone to couples therapy to discuss their pets.
Wow.
And
Okay.
yes, so I feel like, this gives me, this amazing platform to tell all those stories, like, and have an impact, and, help people, see themselves in that, or open their minds about other types of love and relationship that are out there.
Wow. They went to therapy for a pet?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think like they
Okay.
went to therapy in general, but they ended up
Okay.
talking about their pets and how they should
Wow.
handle, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's
Hey.
modern relationships. Yeah, like
Okay.
right now, pets are the new kids for some couples. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I have heard that. Okay. Okay. Wow. Okay. And I think that you touched upon an important point as well, though, when you talked about walking away, and that even though you are developing your voice, even though that you may have something very important to say, everybody can't come along for the journey, and that is not for people. It is not for everyone.
mhm.
Um, and that can be for somebody who is just beginning to use their voice. That may be a shock to them. It may be kind of disheartening, but I mean, it shouldn't be. It makes your job simple, right?
Yeah, exactly. And like you should always follow your instincts and always surround yourself with kind and hardworking people that share your work ethic, because you're gonna pay. If you don't, you're gonna pay the price down the road for sure. Because, and especially, when you're a creator and you're passionate about something, this is your baby. Like, if you wouldn't have your someone that you don't trust babysit your kid. So it's kind
Right.
of like the same thing. You don't want to rely on someone that seems unreliable or inconsistent, um, with something that's so important and so sacred to you.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. And so, with this new power that you're developing, you're realizing the power of your voice and whatnot. How do you harness that power, the power of passion, um, without not only for yourself, but for others? Because, like you said, this is your baby and you're lending your voice and you want to be authentic and true. This is part of who you are. So, how do you harness the power of passion without being powerfully overwhelming,
Mhm.
but also without letting it draw and take you into other areas and places where you really should not be?
Yeah, that
I
it's
know that's
definitely,
kind of a
yeah.
loaded question, but
Yeah, because it's a delicate balance, for real. Like sometimes I will get overwhelmed with it all, or I will be like, should I be doing this instead? As that looks more, fast results, or that looks, intriguing. But I feel like again, it comes back to touching base with yourself, and figuring out, who you are, who do you want to be, like where do you see yourself in a year, in 3 years, in 5 years, and whatever doesn't work for that, whatever doesn't help you get there, you just take it away, you just remove it. And it's not always easy, and you definitely need a lot of perseverance, a lot of patience, and all those things are not easy things. Like I myself am still struggling with patience and not seeing fast results. That can definitely be frustrating because you put all this great work and you're like, okay, I want to get to the next step now. What's the next step?
Right.
And that next step, like that wall that you need to shatter, it's really hard, and it takes as much work as it did to shatter the wall before you. And then even after you do
Right.
that, there's the next step and the next step. So I think like it's all about loving what you do, and touching base with yourself to stay true to yourself and your vision. And just keep on trying and keep on staying true to yourself and your art and your vision.
Okay. So I want to ask you a question, because in your field, um,
Hmm.
collaboration is the norm. Working with
Yeah.
other people is the norm, not collaboration. I want to be specific on this for a reason. And so you're already working with other people in order to bring your passion project to life. Okay. But then there are those who would love to collaborate with
Hmm.
you. And I'm sure you've ran into instances where maybe there was someone who appeared to be like-minded, or actually were.
Hmm.
Um, and whatever they had, whether it was their organization or their project, seemed to be in line with yours.
Hmm.
But for some reason, either if you got together or if you didn't, there was something there that you felt that you were either losing more of yourself, or that was pulling you into an area where you were like, wait a minute, this is truly different. So it looks like me, it sounds like me, but it doesn't feel like me. Um, and what triggers in those instances? Like, what triggers could you recognize early on, or could maybe our viewers use to, like, okay, say this isn't, recognize that that's not for them early on?
Yeah, well, I think that's so personal. For me, it's as simple as I feel it in my gut. Like
Okay.
I get anxiety, I feel it in my body. I get anxiety, I just feel like I'm not doing something right. Something stresses me out or feels wrong in the process of doing it. Yeah, it's hard to put it into words because I'm very into listening to my gut and
Okay.
to, trusting my instinct, and when and be fully just like alert of in picking up signals and red flags and my inner alarms going off.
Okay.
um yeah, so that would be my advice to people, but again, like it could be something completely different for someone else.
Right. So the body signals, and,
Yeah,
like you're
yeah, I
saying,
mean, I
don't
yeah.
ignore.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Okay.
that's why I'm like before when we were talking about, grounding yourself and finding your voice, like being in touch with your body and what your body tells you and signals, it's just so important, like being in touch with your instinct and your gut feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I would think that the greater clarity that you have about who you are, and the words that, who you are, what you want to say, um, also helps you narrow focus, and that would play a part in avoiding some of those situations. So, do you have any tips for, communicating passionately, and for, focused storytelling? Because this is what you do on a day-to-day basis. So I'm sure your insight and your perspective is different from, anyone else.
Yeah, well, it's a work in process in the sense that you will discover your voice piece by piece, and you will course
It's good.
correct along the way. I know I have. I used to think that I was this super dramatic writer and actor, and then I ended up, producing a pilot that was a comedy.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, I mean, it's a dramedy, but it has like a lot of comedy in it. And I spent many years as an artist being so afraid of comedy and thinking, no, I'm drama. And like so much to that when I got the idea of couples therapy, I actually reached out to a comedian friend to be like, hey, just can you like look over the script and tell me like, just like maybe add a few jokes, or if, and he was like, it's perfect, it doesn't need anything. Like he literally gave me one joke that we ended up not using. So it's, yeah, and it's like there's a lesson there, because like you
Yeah.
put all those limitations in your mind that I am this or I am that, or I can't do this, I can't do that. But when you actually take the leap and try to do it, you will surprise yourself. I know I surprise myself. So again, it comes down to courage. When it comes to give people tips about how to communicate passion, I would say courage. Take the time to get to know your voice and believe in yourself. Don't be your own worst critic. You know,
Yeah.
give yourself a pep talk. Believe in yourself. Pamper yourself a little bit. Um, I feel like in my industry, a lot of people have imposter syndrome, and usually the most talented people do. And sometimes the people that don't have that much talent are the ones that are, arrogant
That
and
are
like,
everywhere.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and overconfident. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like that's everywhere. Like usually, unfortunately, like very often the most capable people are the ones that are the most self-doubting, and the
Wow.
people that are not as good are just like, oh yeah, I can do this. Like
Heck
it's,
yeah.
yeah, it's kind of like the joy of being, not thinking too much, pretty much, and just
Okay.
So yeah, that's one thing, and also be a little more playful and enjoy the process. Like don't take yourself too seriously. Just do it because you love it and you enjoy it.
That is so cool. Enjoy the process. I mean, because you're you. It's like give yourself a chance. Um, so many people like right out the gate, they want to like get it right the first time.
Yeah.
And when it comes to using your words, we do have a responsibility over what we speak. We must be accountable for the words that we say. Um, but so many people silence themselves before they even give themselves a chance, you know?
Yeah, and
And
especially women sometimes, like we're
yeah,
sometimes afraid to talk. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, most definitely. Can you share with us either a personal experience or uh, a valuable lesson that you learned regarding wielding your voice?
Well, it's not a personal experience, but it's a story that a friend of mine has told me. It's kind of like my filmmaker role model. Her name is Sonia O'Hara, and she is this amazing, super talented filmmaker, actor, writer, director. And she made this amazing pilot called Doomsday, and
Okay.
that was kind of like her ticket in the industry. She kind of like broke in the industry with that, and she was telling me the story that when she created this pilot and she started the festival circuit, which is how the industry sees you. Um, Everyone else was trying to create at the time, the new girls or the new broad city or something like that, because they
Hmm.
felt like that's what the industry wanted. But she just created something that she was passionate about, that was true to her, that was based on her own experiences, so it stood out. And that's why she got so many wins and so much attention, because it was so different and so unique. So I feel like that's a great story about not abiding to what you think people expect of you, the industry that you're working on, or whether you're personal environment, and just be true to yourself and to your voice and to what you want to create or accomplish. And people will respond to that a lot more. People respond to authenticity a
Right.
lot more than you might think. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a saying, your gift will make room for you.
Yeah.
And, those are things that are uniquely yours. They can come from no one else, you know. Um, Final words of wisdom for the women who are viewing this and either are in process of learning how to use their voice or who one day will.
I would say love yourself. That's the most important thing and the hardest at the same time. But it's amazing how women are having a hard time loving themselves and taking care of themselves and taking time for themselves, and they consider that to be selfish. Like we women just have been raised to provide service, especially the women before my generation. And any time that we take for ourselves is like we subconsciously feel so much guilt um, and that we're being selfish. But it's like you can't pour from an empty cup. You need to take care of
Right.
yourself first. So I would say love yourself and be kind to yourself. And that way you'll be able to love others and be kind to others.
Out of that overflow. Yeah. Because
Yeah.
self-care is not selfish,
Oh,
it's a necessity. It
exactly.
is a
Yeah.
necessity. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you want to be here to enjoy your life.
Exactly. Yeah. You didn't come here to serve anyone else.
There
You're
you
here
go.
to live your own life. Yeah.
Yeah. Well done. Michaela, thank you. Thank you so
Thank you
much
so
for
much.
being
Thank you
here
for
today,
having
being
me.
part of this segment.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
And so I hope you found today's conversation insightful toward helping you to better wield your own voice. I invite you to become part of this growing platform for women that we're building in her company. And I look forward to your feedback, not only on this segment, but the other segments in the series. So my name is Chris Vaughn. This is In Her Company.